And we're live. It is Friday, July the 25th. It is the year of our Lord 2025. And I have to say, when I started Dog Shirt TV, this was kind of the opening that I imagined. There would be four co hosts, that had just shown up, and nobody had to be browbeaten. I didn't have to send in text around. I'm gonna be all by myself. People just showed up, and it was international in character. We don't have any Canadians represented now. Not that we're bitter about that. We have an interagency process going on between FBI and CIA. We have NATO allies here to remind us that we are terrible people, and we have multiple languages from four continents that we can that maybe five that we can handle ourselves in if need be. It sort of depends what you consider English to be in that regard. And all of which and we have a promised from Holly Berkeley Fletcher, who is back and with her smiling face on, not with this "I just got off a plane and Heathrow is the
But I
worst
still
place
feel
in."
like shit, just so we know.
Okay, but not averse to complaining. And I have a present for Holly that you're all going to thank me for. I have bought Holly a fabulous microphone that will, in fact, it looks exactly like this one,
Oh my
that will make her voice, she'll sound, it'll be so much better. And she promises a cactus surprise today,
A bombshell report. A
a bombshell
bombshell.
report. So let's do it. Let's start with the cactus bombshell.
Okay, so yesterday, unpacking and doing things in my house, I found, are you ready for this? Brace yourself. I found this. Another cactus, which is clearly not the original cactus and it's definitely different than the original cactus. I can tell the difference. And it's not the new cactus that
And it
Ben
has
has purchased.
wings.
No, it has a note on it that says, Holly, I am not dead. I was kidnapped and only now escaped. Watch your back. It was Lilo. P.S. Ben is hanging out with an imposter. Help him. Now, let me break this down for us. The Occam's razor simplest explanation is that my dog sitter friend, that is also not the original cactus, because I can tell the difference, by the way. But the Occam's razor simplest explanation for this is that my friend Tammy, who was dog sitting while we were all gone, thinks she's very funny and set this sort of trap. But the simplest explanation.
You don't know who this is from.
Well, again, the simplest explanation is that the only person who was residing in the house while we were all gone created this as some sort of plot twist, which is nakedly, transparently, her. But as we all know, the simplest explanation is not ever very interesting. And so I think it's important to concoct a new explanation / conspiracy theory as to what this is all about. Someone is either Lilo is behind this whole thing, murdered the cactus, has convinced, is somehow like in charge of the new imposter cactus, has bought a new cactus. I don't know. There's so many cactuses, and I'm so confused by anything other than the simplest explanation. But I don't know. I feel like the simplest explanation is boring. So,
Well, I will just say there is no doubt as to the identity of the snowman. That has not been challenged.
that is correct, because I don't think you could buy another one
And the
like that.
snowman watch this, vouches for the
No,
veracity. Here he goes. He's nodding that this is the real cactus.
no, no,
Um,
no.
the snowman vouches for the cactus, and I just have a question, which is, can
Does
that
this repeat?
cactus do the thing?
Okay, it can definitely repeat, but I don't know if this whoever has perpetrated this has recorded a message.
Well, let's see. I mean, it would be lousy if the person hadn't actually.
You know what? I don't think this cactus has been charged. This cactus has no batteries. Oh, wrong. Okay, that. Hello. I don't think this cactus can record anything. I don't see an option.
I don't think this cactus can record anything. I don't see an option.
I'm
Well,
turning.
then you'd better say the right words this time.
Okay. You're watching Dog Shirt TV.
You're watching Dog Shirt TV.
A fucking revolution in morning television.
A fucking revolution in morning television.
I will say that this cactus is like.
TV, a fucking revolution in morning television.
You are watching Dog Shirt
This one
TV,
is
and
like
it
5 times louder than the
and
original.
it is a fucking revolution in morning television. And one of the revolutionary features is that we can get 4 serious people on 2 different continents with genuine professional qualifications to sit around holding stuffed cactuses that talk and before a live audience, and that just doesn't happen on the networks, and I venture to say it doesn't happen on Finnish television either. And another one of the revolutionary features is that we can keep this cactus gag going for months.
Probably
And,
forever.
and getting more and more elaborate with more and more cactus and religious overtones and QAnon overtones. And nobody stops watching the show, at least not that
Because
we know
very
of.
few people were watching it to begin with.
That's
I
right.
will point out that 2 of your co-hosts were taking notes on other things during the cactus discussion, though.
Well, I as well they should be.
Yeah.
All of which is an 8-minute long way of saying that we are not allowed to have fun anymore, but we are allowed to have Holly back, which is very exciting. We're allowed to have Mina Olander, which is very exciting. And we are allowed to have Mike Feinberg postponing his trip to the gym for an hour to round out the bridge party here. So, Mina, welcome back to Dog Shirt TV. I'm sure you have nothing better to do with your time than sit around with people playing with stuffed cactuses.
This is the perfect
Whoops,
way
you're
to spend it.
muted.
Am I still muted?
No, I can't hear you. Can you guys hear Mina? Let me
So
unmute
I
you.
thought that am I now still muted?
No, you are. Why don't you refresh and come back
All right.
in?
Sure.
We could hear Mina before we went live. So Holly, do you feel like shit because of jet lag or for?
Yeah, it's kicking my butt this time. Once again woke up at 4 a.m. with a pounding headache. I really need to get back to my exercise regimen.
Well, I'm going to Solid Core this weekend if you want to join me.
Oh, I did go yesterday. It just was extremely painful and not an impressive performance. So.
Okay, so Mina is now back, but she is, at least for me, a black rectangle, and I cannot hear her.
You can't hear me still?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Now she is not a
So-
black rectangle, and I can hear her.
So I lost the echo cancellation in the process, unfortunately. I was so happy that I made it before you started the recording. I was able to put on the echo cancellation, so I'm gonna just have to mute myself.
That's
I don't
fine.
hear an echo.
You don't hear an echo now. That's nice.
No.
No, we do or
Oh.
at least I do when I'm talking and you're not muted.
Yeah,
So
right.
keep yourself muted when you're not
I
talking.
will. The classic. No, I was just
So,
saying that, like, of course, there's no better way to spend a summer afternoon than on Berkshire TV. No, I've been trying to take some
she
time
says
off.
politely.
I've been trying to take some time off, and I've been successful with that, and that's been very nice. It's super warm also in Stockholm now. It's been for a couple of weeks, so I'm just sitting here with this little fan.
What counts as super warm in Stockholm? Because I had a hilarious conversation with a journalist in Kirkenes the other day who said that he'd sent everybody home from the Barents Observer because it was 20 degrees Celsius, and which is like a super cool, 20 degrees Celsius is like 60 degrees Fahrenheit, maybe 65. And so that would be like the coolest day of the summer here in DC by a long shot. What counts as warm, very warm in Stockholm?
30 degrees Celsius. So you can do the translation into Fahrenheit. And it has not rained for a while. It's been pretty sort of like humid and oppressive sort of the last couple days. And the crazy thing is that over northern Finland and Sweden, there's been this heat wave for like now more than 2 weeks. So the temperature hasn't really gone, I think, like, should I say below 80, like above the Arctic Circle, for more than 2 weeks now. So that's like, I mean, they're starting to have some like forest fires up in
Yeah.
Lapland and stuff. So that's like really, it's been literally like the warmest part of this region for the past couple of weeks, and that's like sort of not, like not supposed to be the case. And it's just like, I don't know, this like heat wave is just like not moving. It's just like sitting up there above the northern part of Finland and
Yeah,
Sweden.
so 30 degrees is warm even in a warm place. That's 85 degrees. So that's,
Mm.
10 degrees Fahrenheit cooler than Washington, but it's still you break a sweat in that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And you'd tend to turn on your air conditioner, which you guys don't have.
Yeah, exactly. So like you're starting to notice it, sort of that like people just don't have air condition. I live in an old building, so it takes a while for it to heat up, but like once it's heat up, it's warm. So it is, and especially those temperatures up in Lapland and like above the Arctic Circle are pretty sort of, I mean, that's not supposed to happen. So there we can really see how the global warming is like accelerating much faster closer to the poles. So that's like really, yeah, concerning in terms of like all the ecosystems that are pretty vulnerable up there. And especially because it's also not really raining. So that's
So
that's
what's
another
the
one.
maximum temperature you should expect in Stockholm over a summer?
Well, I mean, it does always get at some point up to like 30 degrees or something, but like having it over like prolonged periods of time, like every day, is like sort of unusual that you like it would go down maybe below 20 degrees Celsius at some point and then go up again. So this kind of like that it just stays at like above, let's say 25 degrees Celsius over like a period of 2 weeks, like that's not so usual, and we have seen this kind of reversal of tourism trends in Europe that now Southern Europeans are coming up here for coolcations, which like obviously is not the case right now. June was great for that because we constantly were like at, I don't know, 15 degrees. So June was pretty cold. But so it used to be the way that Northern Europeans would go to the south for a summer holiday because you never know whether you have a summer up here, or it used to be that way. Like we have this joke in Finland that like, yeah, I remember last summer well, it was on a Tuesday, basically sort of like that, because you simply don't have it, and if you want like proper warm summer, you go to the south. And now it's like the other way around, that especially in July, people from Southern Europe travel up here because like you're actually able to still like walk around and do stuff. Whereas like, I mean, it's very different in the south. Like I just read that in June, Spain had like more than 1,000 excess deaths from the heat. So
Yeah,
um,
it's no joke. I
yeah,
mean, and you don't have, I'm going to mute you. Oh, sorry, you did it. Um, you don't have a culture in which it's much more of an outdoors culture than at least the mid-Atlantic and south of the United States. And so many fewer buildings are routinely air conditioned, and you also have a culture which you don't have here of old people spending a lot of time outside. And so you can get, you can gin up a lot of excess deaths, with relatively small, what for here would not be a big deal in terms of, excess temperature. And also, the population of Europe is older than the population of the United States. And so you're just dealing with a more vulnerable, aging population in general. Um, Look, it's gonna, but we're also seeing it here. So I don't think DC is much hotter than it has traditionally been. I mean, the summers here have always been brutal. But what DC really is we're getting these torrential storms that are, we used to get a few of them, and now we're getting them, you know, they're near tornadoes. They're bringing down a lot of trees. They're happening every 2 days, every 3 days. They're really intense, and and you get these localized floodings that are, if you're not stupid, they're not really dangerous in this area, but stupid can cost you your life, and in some parts of the country, like we saw in Texas, you really don't have to be stupid. You can be on perfectly dry land, and then the next day, the next hour, you're swept away by a torrent. And so there's going to be adaptation everywhere. And so I think the right approach is denial and to pretend that it isn't happening and burn more fossil fuels, right?
Yeah, that's probably the way to go. Do we want to go
I
to some more happy news, by the way? I have some.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm really behind with these happy news because this was already published last month, but I somehow managed to miss it. Um, so this is related to Ukraine. So I think we can all use some happy news about Ukraine. So um, there's this German Institute for World Economy in Kiel that tracks the Ukraine aid from the donor countries. And Europe had already filled the gap left by um, the lack of new US aid by April this year. So that was I take the little wins that I get, and also you know that I've been like everybody who has been following Doctor TV for a while knows that I keep going on about like European small states and the Nordic countries, and indeed this was once again led by the Nordic countries. So the Nordic countries, so little or like tiny countries, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, did the biggest effort here in terms of like extra aid to compensate for the loss of US aid. And they were like really leading this effort together with the UK and the EU institutions. So I think it's like a pretty impressive feat, sort of like for three small countries essentially, plus Finland to an extent. Let's say four small countries with the total population of 25 million. To compensate for, I mean, not alone, obviously, the UK also did its part and the EU institutions, but still, like that, these countries are leading this effort is tells you like never to sort of like underestimate the small ones in Europe.
Yeah, it's great news, and and the the really great part of it is that it will put significant pressure on Germany to turn that ship a little bit faster. And I don't think it will have the effect of embarrassing us, but we can hope. And if I still had my lasers, I would shine congratulatory notes to the the Nordic countries on prominent monuments in the United States, but somebody took them away from me, and I don't have them right now. And so stay tuned for more news on that after a certain court notifies me of what day I'm obliged to show up. But anyway, enough about that. Um, uh, so, Minna, what other good news do you have for us?
Well, actually, because you mentioned Germany, Germany hasn't been like too bad either. Germany has been really making an effort to convince Donald Trump to at least sell Patriot air defense systems to Ukraine, or like not to Ukraine, but to Germany, basically. So, or like back to
And
Germany.
apparently successfully.
Yeah, so that has happened. And again, like I would say that there are absolutely no expectations on the US at this point. Like nobody imagines that like the US will come around anymore on this. Hence Europeans sort of like filling that gap. But the Patriots have been really the trickiest part because like they are somehow like just exceptionally good for the purpose they fulfill. So this has been also really good news that Trump at least wanted to like agree on this sales deal. And now it's just then like I hope that Germany feels confident enough that Russia is not going to shoot missiles at Berlin in the next 6 months, so that it'll just give up some from its own stocks right now and waits for the backfill next year. So this is like really good for Ukraine because like they can actually count on getting more like both this fall and like also next year. So honestly, given that everything could have been even worse, I don't know, this is better than nothing for sure.
I could not agree more. I think if you look back to the day of the Oval Office meeting and you say we would be in this position less than 6 months later, and that we would be, that the erosion of the front, which is a real thing that's, continues to happen, would be taking place as slowly as it is and at as high cost to Russia as it is, and that the president would have essentially stopped criticizing the Ukrainians and would be publicly expressing frustration with Putin. This is effectively the dream scenario that we would have all agreed was unrealistic 6 months ago.
For sure,
And
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just agreeing with you. And I have to say that like we have to thank Putin for like not being able to resist the chance to humiliate Trump because like that has been such a stupid move. But I guess this guy can't help himself. Russia is always its own worst advocate, so
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I don't want to give Trump more credit. I don't want to start any sentence with "you have to hand it to Trump" because I actually don't think you do. Um, uh, that said, I do think Putin has put him in a position which is like the one position where you cannot put Donald Trump, which is make him look like the fool that he in fact is in front of everybody over and over and over again. And uh, it parallels exactly the situation that he's dealing with domestically on the Epstein front, which I don't know how Epstein is playing in Europe or if it's playing in Europe, but you have these two things going on at the same time, and they're both, you know, they both follow the same track, which is I said I could get along with Putin and would reveal the pedophile cabal, by releasing the Epstein files and releasing everything. And I've, you know, And it turns out that Putin makes me look like an idiot, and I'm in the Epstein files, and don't want to release them. And I do think those things play alongside one another,
Can
and
we just point out
contribute.
one difference, though? I
Yeah.
think I think it was actually somewhat reasonable for Donald Trump to expect that Putin, because he thinks they're buddy buddies, and they have been buddy buddies. But the thing that confuses me about
But
the
wait a
whole,
minute. It was reasonable for him to expect Putin to behave more, uh, maybe more in, not to rocket Kiev every night, while these negotiations are
it
going on.
wasn't
But
reasonable, but it
but
wasn't like,
it wasn't reasonable for him to expect Putin to give up the core
okay.
objectives that
However,
Putin's been completely consistent about.
well, still, there's a difference. So maybe it wasn't reasonable to expect that if he had half a brain, which he clearly does not. But in the case of Epstein, like, unless he's forgotten about his life, like as he's lived it, like he should have known that he's in. Like I knew, like this is the thing that blows my mind about this whole Epstein thing, and like the is like we don't know. We know exactly what we've known like for 10 years about Donald Trump. And I don't understand. I don't. There's like multiple levels. I don't understand how his followers don't understand that. I don't understand how he ever like drummed up this call for the files when he's got to know he's probably in the files. Like I don't understand how he has entrapped himself so egregiously like this.
So, Minna, are people talking about the Epstein stuff in Europe, or is that just an American obsession?
No, no, for sure. I mean, like, we are so obsessed over everything that happens in the US, obviously, because it's our problem too, you know? So, yeah, we have our popcorn ready to be consumed in great quantities. Honestly, it is like exactly like Holly said, like, it boggles the mind, like, why he went for this, because it's like so clear. I mean, there seems to be ample evidence of his connections to Epstein. So, like, why? I mean, nobody knows, but I do hope that it's going to harm him big time. That would be awesome.
I think I would venture a hypothesis as to the answer, which is, you know, he doesn't think more than one news cycle ahead. He's not like the kind of guy who's like, we shouldn't play this card because it could come back and bite us. And if there's, and he's not, by the way, part of he's a conspiracy theorist, but one conspiracy that he's never shown any particular interest in is the idea that there's a pedophile cabal of liberal elites that is, literally eating children, and or drinking their vital fluids, as General Ripper would say. Um,
Precious bodily fluids.
Precious
Precious
bodily
bodily
fluid, yeah.
fluids. Yeah.
That like he's crazy and he believes a lot of nutty stuff, but he's never shown any particular interest in that one. And so I think it's really more that, his people were having fun with this and he wasn't going to stop it. He never expressed any particular enthusiasm for releasing the Epstein files. In fact, when he was asked, he would say things like, "Oh, sure, but only the appropriate stuff," right? He always hedged on it. And I think he was basically letting his people play their game, and just on the theory that it would damage the other side. And, he doesn't think 4, 6, 8 months ahead and say, that one's not going to work so well for me. Kind of like saying I'm going to get a ceasefire in 24 hours.
So another like somewhat related question. What about South Park? I think somebody asked about it on the chat as well. And it takes on
I
South Park.
Have
I
you
am
watched
more
it,
than
Mike?
capable of expounding on South Park. Have any of you seen it yet? Okay, so I faced a little bit of a dilemma in that I absolutely love South Park. I have seen, I think they're on season 27. I have seen all 26 prior seasons multiple times. But I was in a dilemma because I didn't really want to support Paramount at this point in time, but I very much wanted to watch the episode. So I signed up for the free 7-day trial, watched the South Park premiere, and then exactly 24 minutes after I signed up, canceled the Paramount Plus free trial. But the episode is great. Up until the end, I was not certain whether it would reach the levels of excellence in satire that the hype had made it out to. And then without giving anything totally away, there is a fake public service announcement that they clearly made with an AI generator of, it's not animated, it's an actual like video of Donald Trump that might be the funniest 2.5 minutes of television I have ever seen in my life. It's
I may have to do the free Paramount trial.
Yeah, it's worth it, and the entire episode really hinges on this fake video, this deep fake they created of Trump wandering through the desert in an explicit parallel to Jesus, and it's very much worth going through the hassle of signing up for Paramount Plus for a half
Was
hour.
there a cactus in the desert, though? That's
Although John Hawkinson says the PSA is available for on YouTube.
All right, if they haven't taken it down yet, then watch it there. It's good. I have a real affinity for South Park and have many favorite episodes. This quickly bulleted to the top.
You must have also loved Team America, which I
Very
think
much so. I saw Team America on a date. Not a typical date movie, but it was hilarious.
when I joined the CIA, there was a DVD that went around, and all the new people were given the DVD and go watch Team America.
Yeah.
Not as official policy, just in our little office. Just to be clear.
So my question now on this whole South Park episode is like, what are your takes? Who's bigger, South Park or Trump? Like, what's gonna be the reaction? Is he gonna like
He already
sue
has
them?
reacted.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah,
I
I
missed
think
that.
I forget whether it was a tweet or a statement, but there's been press reporting, if only secondhand even, that he's absolutely furious about it. And a lot of his supporters are furious about it because South Park, it's a very politically incorrect, sort of anti-woke ideology show. And so a lot of people who supported, quote, owning the libs always liked South Park. But they're now learning what anybody who really loves the show knows, which is that they are an equal opportunity offender and are not dedicated to one side of the political spectrum. If there is any constant in South Park, it is that they despise people who use public authority and public power for bullying instead of reasoned argumentation. And Donald Trump clearly falls into that category, so I suspect this is not going to be the only episode we see this season ridiculing him.
But question, Mike, Paramount does have this merger, which I think the FCC just approved yesterday.
Yep.
Do you have any questions about whether they are jeopardizing that by virtue of this, or did they kind of wait until it was basically a done deal because of the prior capitulation in order to
I don't know. There's a really good words I never thought I would say. There's a really good documentary about the making of South Park. And it takes a full week to do an episode. So this is not something they were able to gin up right away. But I will note that the other main target of the episode's satire is Paramount itself. There is probably a 5 to 10 minute segment that is nothing less than making fun of the spinelessness of executives over 60 minutes. And it's not subtle.
Yeah, well, it's never subtle.
No.
Excellent. Well, rah South Park. Hit them hard. Now that your merger is approved, hit 60 Minutes or the network's treatment of 60 Minutes hard. And you're always welcome on Dogshirt TV, where we have no mergers before the FCC. And we are more than happy to, give you a cactus to be your puppet. What else is on your mind this morning or this afternoon, Mina?
Honestly, like not all that much. Like I have reached the state of like a relatively empty mind. Like as I said, it's been warm, somewhat hard to sleep, but like I've been spending a lot of time at the lakeside. We have a lake where it's like sort of it's not like beach like sand beach, but like rocks from where you sort of like just like glide into the water. So yeah, I've actually really fairly successfully tried to take some time off. But I could actually rant about something a little bit that happened like the other week, and that was that I talked to a New York Times journalist, and it was about sort of like this Franco-German British efforts to sort of like figure out new European constellations to sort of like have some kind of like a backup plan just in case NATO becomes completely incapacitated or something.
Let me
And
guess.
mhm.
We've never spoken about this before, right?
I don't think so, no, because it happened just like last
Okay,
week.
I'm going to guess.
Okay, go ahead.
The New York Times journalist, whom you haven't named, and I don't know who it was, wrote up all your thoughts and didn't quote you.
No, they did quote me. It was a really stupid quote, but like I should just like not say stupid things so then I would be like quoted for saying stupid things. But anyway, so the point was that what was interesting about it was that I talked about Poland quite a lot. Like I kept making the point that, like it's not just these three big European powers that matter anymore at this point. It's also like Poland is like really like in a completely new way integrated into that like sort of center central sort of like power circle. And they did not mention Poland even once in the whole article. Uh, that was like just sort of odd. Like they even omitted Poland in a context where Poland was with these three other countries in Kiev. And that was just sort of like I just thought that was interesting and strange. And I guess that's like this typical sort of like view of Europe where you have like Russia and then you have Western Europe and you're not sure what's out there otherwise, or there's some kind of a gray area in between. So yeah, that's just like interesting because like the whole thing about like Europe at the moment is, and that's a lot due to this war in Ukraine, that Western Europe got it so clearly so wrong that they cannot sort of like dominate anymore in the same way. And like obviously it's not like all of Central and Eastern Europe because we still do have Hungary and stuff. But there's this clear understanding that like the North has a voice, the South has a voice. They don't want to be represented by Germany and France anymore only, and that like especially Poland now has a completely different and much more central role. So
Yeah. Um, all right. I have a very important Finnish summer question for you. Do Finns go to saunas in the summer, or is that just a winter thing?
yes, of course we go to sauna all the time, anytime. I'm not sure though, like how much people do it when it's like literally this hot. Like they might skip the sauna when it's like already like really warm outside. But on the other hand, there is of course maybe this effect that if you go to a sauna that is like 100 degrees, no wait, what's 100 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit?
212.
Yeah, anyway, so if you go to a sauna that's that hot, maybe then like 30 degrees Celsius doesn't feel anymore as hot as it was before.
So it's
Um,
an all year thing.
yes, very much so.
How often do you go to a sauna?
I mean, if I'm in Finland, like every 3 days or so, like if it's available, but at least once per week. So most Finnish houses have the system that, like, if you live in an apartment building, you have a sauna in the basement, and then you have your personal sort of like sauna appointment, like weekly appointment. Like mine used to be every Friday at 6, so I would go to sauna every Friday at 6. Um, yeah, so that's how it works. And some people have like two sauna points. If you have your own sauna, like you can use it every night. Maybe not quite because it still like costs something to heat it up. Um, but yeah, people do it like multiple times per week, I would say.
All right. I am planning to build a sauna at the cabin in the woods when I'm done with the interior.
Make
And
sure that the stove is big enough. I was in northern Norway and I was so annoyed with the sauna there because like they had a tiny stove in like huge sauna and it wouldn't heat beyond like 70 degrees Celsius, which is cold for a sauna. So it was very frustrating. Make sure you have a big enough stove.
what do you what is your optimal temperature for a sauna?
Like I think 100 degrees Celsius is pretty hot.
That's boiling water temperature.
Yeah, so that's pretty
Doesn't
hot.
that kill you in
No,
like
I
two
mean, like,
seconds?
no, like if you stay for like half an hour, like you're not gonna feel well, but you just don't do that. You stay there for like 5 to 15 minutes or something. I sort of like 85 degrees to 90 Celsius.
That sounds just like scary and dangerous.
No, it's wonderful. It's really good for you.
Um, all right. Um, Holly, what's on your mind this morning other than what is your optimal sauna temperature?
Probably like 72 Fahrenheit. That's my optimal.
Yeah.
I don't have a temperature like all the time. Let me, as I've mentioned before, when you've been raised in the world's literally the world's perfect climate, your tolerance for either heat or cold is very minimal. And particularly heat. I hate the heat. As soon as my husband retires from his job in a few years, I think we're gonna like take off and go somewhere cold like every summer because we hate the heat. So, and DC is, and not just the heat, the humidity and the heat is really the killer thing. So I hate that very much. What else is on my mind? You know, I've been wanting to talk to Mike actually about
Holly,
polygraph,
before you switch, could I make a comment on saunas?
Of course.
as if
So,
we could stop you.
well, as if you could not. So I just wanted to flag the conversation about temperature.
Apparently,
I
the
think it
internet
really
can.
matters where we're
Yeah,
measuring.
apparently God can stop John Hawkinson from giving.
Oh, well, that could be. I don't know if you can hear me, but we're not talking about the temperature of skin. I'm not sure if we're talking about the temperature of water or the temperature of rocks, but I would analogize this to cooking a turkey in an oven, where we in the U.S. cook a turkey at 350 Fahrenheit, but the inside of the turkey
All right,
doesn't
I'm
make it
going
to
to
180.
dismiss John Hawkinson because we can't hear him.
That's so
Uh,
harsh. Very.
but I will uh, uh, give an
Does it work
account
with my
of
video
his
off then?
uh, talk for a sec. We'll see. We'll find out.
Sure. I would analogize this to cooking a turkey, where the oven might be at 350 Fahrenheit, but the inside of the turkey takes hours to get to 180 Fahrenheit. So it matters where we're measuring the temperature. Are we measuring the temperature of rocks or water or of skin?
Um, the generally that we're talking about the air temperature. Um, but yes, your point is correct. That is why it is not dangerous. Although I will say that the turkey at 180 degrees internal temperature is dead, whereas the Mina is alive and emerges from the sauna feeling good. So the comparison is not exactly apt.
Best I could do.
No, it's a very fair point. It takes a while to roast you to death, but 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 I will point out that the turkey goes in dead and comes out equally dead.
This is a good point.
Um,
Yeah.
we are joined by Nastia, who is, best as I can tell, not dead, despite Vladimir Putin's best efforts, and seems in a very cheerful mood. Hello, Nastia.
Hi, I am in
We
a
can't hear
cheerful.
you, though. You have to
Oh,
unmute yourself.
you still can't hear me? Oh, I know why.
All right. Well, Nastia's
Hi,
um,
how about now?
uh, audibility is no better than John Hawkinson's. So let's go back to Holly, who was about to change the subject and
Can
raise
you
a
hear me
question.
now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Ben, I've got some crazy news. Well, it's actually not that crazy. From my opinion, it's crazy. But, were you in the middle of something super important, or can I just share?
No, go ahead.
I literally
Hijack,
just.
and then we'll go back to Holly's question for Mike Feinberg when you're done.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry, I'm making all of this about me. But, so, all of you, well, Mike probably doesn't know, but he will know now that I'm working on a project about the Arctic, which means that I'm obsessed with all things Arctic and especially Svalbard. And we've talked about Svalbard a lot on this show. So, I just randomly stumbled upon a book written that I've never heard of before, written by a Ukrainian journalist called Ukrainian Spitsbergen, which used to be the name of Svalbard before it was named Svalbard. So he went to Svalbard, stayed there, and wrote a book of dispatches about the Ukrainian history of the archipelago, like basically claiming that it has a bunch of Ukrainian roots. And I'm going crazy over it. I just had my workout. I'm gonna run to the bookstore to get it.
But I
I
don't.
have never.
Explain something to me. Is
Yeah,
there any truth to the idea that there
of
are any
course,
Ukrainian roots in Svalbard?
of course. Yep. Okay. Well, you think
There's a lot,
Soviet coal
yeah.
mines didn't have Ukrainians? We built that shit.
Yeah, so
Oh,
it was
okay.
mostly actually Ukrainians from like I think it was Kharkiv and like maybe
Thank you,
Donetsk
Mina.
and so on. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So, like, half of the population of the Russian settlements of Svalbard, at least half, it was Ukrainians. There are still Ukrainians living there. Like, all of the coal mines that the Soviets operated there had a bunch of Ukrainians. So, I'm not going to be surprised if, if you dig into it, there's a lot there, which this guy did. So, I'm like shocked that this book exists. I'm just shocked to find one other Ukrainian citizen who cares about the Arctic. Because you guys, like, every time I tell anyone in the past 2 months that I'm working on the Arctic, they're like, the what? You're working on what? So,
Well, at least you don't tell them you're working on the Antarctic.
yeah, no, that would be even worse. Some people who like read the news, they're like, oh yeah, that's going to be increasingly important, the whole Greenland thing. I'm like, yeah. But usually people just have no idea what I'm talking about. Anyway, that's all. That's literally why I joined, because I couldn't wait another 15 minutes to tell you about this.
All right. Well,
So
run off
now
to
I'm
the
done.
bookstore and get the book, and the next time we do Kava Ivina, you can hold it
Okay.
up and
Okay.
show that you are not the first Ukrainian to be obsessed with Svalbard.
Apparently.
All right, Holly, back to you.
Oh, I just have been meaning to, for a while now, talk to Mike about polygraphs because I have to say, the part of his story that did not surprise me at all is that he resigned upon being told that he would be subjected to additional polygraphs. I find them incredibly unpleasant because I don't know what, Mike, I don't know what is appropriate to disclose. I think everybody knows a little bit about polygraphs. I don't think CIA polygraphs are particularly different, but basically polygraphs are, there's a reason they're not admissible in court. They're pseudoscientific, obviously. But really what they are is a psychological interrogation device where they mess with your
And
mind.
and really critically, the thing that people don't understand about polygraphs is that people cough up all kinds of shit in
Yes.
anticipation of
Yes.
taking a polygraph because they're
Exactly.
afraid they will be asked about it. And so if we say, um, Mina, we're going to strap you up to a polygraph and ask you about all kinds of aspects of your life, Minnow will cough up all kinds
Even
of
if, and the crazy thing is, even if Minna knows going in that it's all a ploy and a device, they will still get in her brain and like mess with her mind, and she will still end up coughing up things. Here's the ironic thing about the polygraph, and Mike, please, and then I'll throw it to you because I'm really interested in your thoughts. To me, the person that aces a polygraph is probably going to be a sociopath. Like,
Yeah, I think that's right. There are a number of people famous throughout espionage history.
Rick Ames, most famously.
That's who I was thinking of mainly. Who beat the polygraph multiple times, and they've actually done studies, I believe, of various ethnic and religious groups and how they react to polygraphs and how certain professions react to polygraphs. And there are definite trends that you could extrapolate based on, I don't want to get too into it, but like the stereotypes about certain cultures or certain religions inculcating guilt.
that is for real.
Yeah. So, like, I've been told, and I don't know if this is true, that, for example, Catholics and Jews do considerably worse at polygraphs than Protestants.
Evangelicals.
Yeah, so that's one thing. The polygraph wasn't actually a factor in my resignation. I included it in the story because it sort of shines a light on how insane the FBI is getting. But yeah, they're incredibly unpleasant.
Oh my gosh.
We probably like you, we sign NDAs before we take them, so I'm not going to get into the mechanics or the lines of questioning, but like, it's not a fun experience.
No.
And I also I have never seen anything in literature or in an actual investigation to convince me that there is any scientific validity to them whatsoever. A good interrogator, who is a good interrogator outside of the room, can certainly use them to his or her advantage in terms of, getting information out of somebody. But like the actual results themselves, the lines on the graph, I don't really think tell you anything.
No, I'm definitely convinced not. It was all a psychological ploy, which I fell for like repeatedly. And there's probably a video that circulates within the CIA of me at the end of one of my polygraphs in tears declaring my undying love for America.
And I don't think that's uncommon. Like you bring it up as a joke, but I know a lot of people who have had very similar emotional reactions to their polygraph sessions. It's worth noting that the primary case in civil litigation, which delineates how you weigh scientific standards before admitting something into evidence, it's called Daubert. Daubert is specifically, the facts of the case are about a polygraph. And, the inadmissibility of polygraphs is sort of the gold standard now for how we review scientific evidence before admitting it to a civil case.
All right. Before we go, Minna, there is a discussion going on in the chat about the item over your left shoulder.
It's a stormtrooper helmet, isn't it?
Apparently it is Captain Rex. Oh, it's a stormtrooper helmet.
Legos. Yeah.
And it's a Lego?
Yeah, that's nice.
Very cool.
Yeah. I have the Death Star. It's like 1 billion pieces, and it took me a long. I like Legos.
Well, you'll all be pleased to know that one of the things that the algorithm has decided that very cool. One of the things that the algorithm has decided that I'm into, other than buying young Eastern European women, is fake Lego sets. And for some reason, it figured out. I don't know how it figured out that I'm scheduled to have a colonoscopy in the next month, but it has been sending me repeatedly the My First Colonoscopy Lego set.
No, that is not a thing.
No, it's fake, but it's a spoof Lego sets, and somehow it broke into my schedule and has been sending me
That is amazing.
the My First Colonoscopy Lego set, and I confess it made me actually laugh out loud.
Did you buy it? I think
No, it doesn't exist.
Oh,
It's
it
not
doesn't
real. But I did think, it was super creepy, but it was.
What was it? Like, what was was it a pile of,
No,
what was it?
it's a guy lying on a table upside down, and a doctor Lego, and some machines.
Okay.
And the guy's holding a
I see.
probe. It's not. The wit of it is not the visual so much as the idea of it. If it sends it to me again, I will share it on the show.
Speaking of psychological torture, these fake Lego sets definitely qualify. My husband bought me. Have you seen those like stadium like Lego sets where you build your favorites, but they're not actually official Legos, they're knockoffs. So my husband bought me the Oklahoma Stadium, and first of all, the pieces were like microscopic. They were like tiny, and then the directions was like a picture of a stadium. And it was like
Figure it out.
Maybe like 5 like layers. Like this is the first layer, and it's like 1 million pieces like laid out, and then that's the second layer. But it was basically like a picture of a stadium, and then like tiny. And I was like, I kept it for several years, but I was like, I'm gonna have to throw this away because it will drive me to madness, and so I'm just gonna like throw it in the trash.
So I just searched for the My First Colonoscopy Lego set on Facebook, where I'd seen it, and it says, "Are you sure you want to continue? The term you've searched for is sometimes associated with the sale or promotion of counterfeit goods, which violates our community standards." I'm going to see the result anyway, and here it is. So at the risk of violating Facebook's community standards, let me show you, before we go, the My First Colonoscopy Lego set, just so that you don't think that I have made it up. There you go.
Okay, that's good.
Folks, we're going to leave it there, because going from the Stormtrooper helmet Lego set to the My First Colonoscopy Lego set is the perfect ending to this, I don't know what to call it, intercontinental, multiple cactus,
Cactus clusterfuck.
a cactus clusterfuck. Y'all have a nice weekend. I'm just telling you, on Monday, normal time, we are going to have a discussion of the single most petty story of administration conduct in the first 6 months of the Trump administration. And I want to submit to you right here.
I thought that was firing Mike Feinberg or causing him.
No. This is way pettier than that.
This is worse. Yeah.
Because the part of pettiness is that it has to have no substance and no real importance. It's just like it's just mean and stupid with no consequences and no,
And
just
no real justification.
right, just
Yeah.
because we can, dogs pissing on fire hydrants kind of things. And we're going to have, it's going to be an hour-long discussion of it. We're going to go through every nook and cranny. You're not going to want to miss it. Mina Olander, great to see you. Holly, welcome back. Mike Feinberg, you're a great American, and we'll do it again on Monday.